Welcome back. Today, we're uncovering 100 secretly gay stars of old Hollywood icons who shaped the industry while keeping their true identities hidden. Get ready for stories of secret romances and hidden truths that defined an era.
Rock Hudson was one of the most prominent leading men in Hollywood, starring in numerous romantic comedies and dramas. He became famous for his rugged good looks, charm, and on-screen chemistry with leading ladies like Doris Day and Elizabeth Taylor. Behind the scenes, however, Hudson struggled to conceal his homosexuality due to the strict expectations of studio executives and society at large. Hudson's sexual orientation was an open secret in Hollywood. He had relationships with men, including his longtime partner Mark Christian, and close friendships with others in the gay community. The pressure to maintain his heterosexual image led him to marry his agent's secretary, Phyllis Gates, in 1955. The marriage ended in divorce 3 years later, and Hudson continued to live a closeted life, even as rumors persisted. In 1984, Rock Hudson was diagnosed with HIV/AIDS, a disease that was heavily stigmatized at the time. He became the first major Hollywood star to die from AIDS-related complications in 1985, which brought much-needed awareness to the epidemic. His death highlighted the struggles of gay men in Hollywood and changed public perception of the disease. Cary Grant was known for his debonair screen presence, effortless style, and comedic timing, making him one of the most beloved actors of his era. He starred in classics like North by Northwest and Bringing Up Baby. His sexual orientation has long been the subject of speculation. Grant's relationship with fellow actor Randolph Scott has been widely discussed and analyzed by historians and biographers. The two men shared a beach house in Malibu and later a home in the Hollywood Hills, leading to widespread rumors of a romantic relationship. Their living situation was often described in affectionate terms in the media, but studio pressures required Grant to maintain a straight image. He married 5 times in his life, each time to women. Some believe these marriages were attempts to quell the rumors about his sexuality. Despite the public image, private letters and accounts suggest that Grant and Scott were deeply connected, sharing a bond that went beyond mere friendship. Though Grant never publicly acknowledged his sexuality, his love for Scott is considered one of the great hidden romances of Hollywood. Marlon Brando was a trailblazing actor known for his raw performances and method acting, which revolutionized the film industry. He starred in iconic films like A Streetcar Named Desire and The Godfather. Brando was known for his voracious sexual appetite and was candid about his bisexuality later in life. In interviews, Brando admitted to having had relationships with both men and women, including with actors James Dean and Richard Pryor. He described his sexuality as fluid, refusing to categorize himself and stating that he had the love of many men and women. Brando's honesty about his bisexuality was unusual for his time, but his career and talent allowed him to navigate Hollywood's conservative landscape. His relationships with men were often kept out of the public eye, but his openness later in life shed light on the complexity of his personal life. James Dean is often remembered as the ultimate symbol of youthful rebellion and tragic demise. He starred in only 3 major films: Rebel Without a Cause, East of Eden, and Giant, before his untimely death in a car crash at age 24. Dean's sexuality has been the subject of much debate, with many believing he was either gay or bisexual. Dean had several close relationships with men, including with fellow actor Sal Mineo and screenwriter Rogers Brackett, who was a mentor and possibly a lover. His relationship with actress Pier Angeli was considered one of his most publicized romances, but some believe it was largely for show. The complexity of Dean's sexual orientation remains unresolved, but it is clear that he did not adhere to the traditional norms of his time. Despite his brief career, Dean's openness about his desires and disregard for societal expectations left an indelible mark on Hollywood, making him a legend of screen and queer history. Montgomery Clift was a gifted actor whose brooding performances in films like A Place in the Sun and From Here to Eternity made him a favorite of critics and audiences alike. He was also one of the first openly gay or bisexual actors in Hollywood, though this aspect of his life was not publicly acknowledged during his career. Clift's relationships with men were well known in his inner circle, but he struggled deeply with his sexual orientation, turning to alcohol and drugs to cope. He had close friendships with actresses like Elizabeth Taylor, who supported him during his battles with addiction and self-destruction. Clift's life was marked by tragedy, including a near-fatal car accident in 1956 that left him disfigured and dependent on painkillers. His career never fully recovered, and he died at 45 from a heart attack, which many believe was the result of his substance abuse. His life and career were a testament to the difficulties faced by queer individuals in an era of intense scrutiny and repression. Sal Mineo became famous for his role as Plato in Rebel Without a Cause, where his character was heavily coded as gay, marking him as one of the first major Hollywood figures to play a gay teenager on screen. Off-screen, Mineo was openly bisexual within his circle, and his relationships with men were well known to close friends. After his peak, Mineo found it hard to secure roles due to his sexuality and his association with rebellious youth. Tragically, he was murdered in 1976, and his legacy as a queer trailblazer in Hollywood continues to resonate. Ramon Novarro was a matinee idol during the silent film era and early talkies, often considered the Latin lover archetype. Behind the public image, Novarro was a closeted gay man whose relationships were kept under wraps due to the strict morality clauses of the time. His career suffered as a result of his sexuality, and he never found lasting success after his initial fame. Novarro's life ended tragically in 1968 when he was murdered in his home, a crime reportedly related to his sexual orientation. Anthony Perkins is best remembered for his role as Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Although married to actress Barry Berenson, Perkins had relationships with men throughout his life, including with Tab Hunter and dancer Rudolf Nureyev. Perkins struggled with his sexuality, and his fear of exposure often pushed him into turbulent emotional states. He contracted HIV and died of AIDS-related complications in 1992, leaving behind a legacy as one of Hollywood's most enigmatic stars. Tab Hunter was a teen heartthrob in the 1950s, known for his all-American looks and starring roles in films like Damn Yankees. Hunter was gay and had a secret relationship with fellow actor Anthony Perkins. However, studio pressures kept him in the closet, and he was often paired with leading ladies for public appearances. In his later years, Hunter came out publicly and wrote a memoir, Tab Hunter Confidential, which detailed his struggles with his sexuality and the pressures of being a closeted star in old Hollywood. George Cukor was a highly successful film director, known for his work on classics like The Philadelphia Story and My Fair Lady. Cukor was openly gay within the Hollywood elite, and his home became a gathering place for many closeted gay actors. While he didn't face the same pressures as actors, he often had to navigate the homophobia prevalent in the industry. Cukor's influence extended beyond his films, as he became a mentor and supporter of other queer individuals in Hollywood. Cole Porter was a celebrated composer and songwriter whose musicals, such as Anything Goes and Kiss Me, Kate, became Broadway staples. Porter was openly gay, though his marriage to Linda Lee Thomas was often seen as a companionship rather than a romantic union. Despite the homophobic environment of the time, Porter's talent and his wife's social standing allowed him to live relatively openly. He surrounded himself with other gay artists and used his art to express desires that he couldn't in public life. Noel Coward was a British playwright, composer, and actor whose sharp wit and stylish persona made him a beloved figure in both London and Hollywood. Coward's homosexuality was an open secret, and he lived his life with a sense of flamboyance that suggested he was comfortable with his identity. Despite this, he avoided direct discussions about his sexuality due to legal restrictions in the UK and the conservative nature of Hollywood. Coward's works often featured gay subtext, providing a window into his world for those who could read between the lines. Charles Laughton was a British character actor known for his roles in Mutiny on the Bounty and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Laughton was married to actress Elsa Lanchester for over 30 years, but he was known to have had relationships with men. His wife was aware of his orientation, and their marriage was one of companionship and mutual respect rather than passion. Laughton's sexuality was an open secret in Hollywood, but his immense talent allowed him to maintain a successful career. Laurence Olivier was one of the greatest actors of the 20th century, known for his roles in Shakespearean plays and films such as Rebecca and Wuthering Heights. Olivier's sexuality has been a topic of debate, with many believing he had affairs with both men and women, including a rumored relationship with Danny Kaye. Olivier's personal letters suggest a fluid approach to sexuality, but he remained married to actresses Jill Esmond and later Vivien Leigh. His personal life was shrouded in secrecy, as he kept up appearances of traditional masculinity. Tyrone Power was one of the top male stars of the 1930s and 1940s, known for his swashbuckling roles and romantic leads. Power was rumored to be bisexual, with relationships with both men and women. His affairs with men were hidden due to the studio's insistence on promoting him as a romantic idol. Power's sexuality became a well-kept secret within Hollywood, and he maintained his image until his sudden death at the age of 44. Richard Chamberlain rose to fame as the star of Dr. Kildare and later became known for his roles in The Thorn Birds and Shogun. Chamberlain was one of the first major actors to come out as gay in 2003 at the age of 69, after spending most of his career in the closet. His memoir, Shattered Love, details his struggle to reconcile his sexuality with the expectations of being a romantic leading man. Chamberlain's coming out was a pivotal moment for Hollywood, encouraging other stars to live openly. Farley Granger was a handsome leading man of the 1940s and 1950s, known for his roles in Alfred Hitchcock's Rope and Strangers on a Train. Granger was openly bisexual in his private life and had relationships with both men and women, including fellow actor Shelley Winters and playwright Arthur Lawrence. Granger was open about his sexuality in his later years, publishing a memoir in 2007 that recounted his experiences as a bisexual man in Hollywood. Barbara Stanwyck was a legendary actress known for her versatility in films such as Double Indemnity and Stella Dallas. Her tough, independent persona made her a standout in Hollywood. Stanwyck's personal life was often scrutinized, and rumors about her sexuality have persisted over the years. She was known to have had relationships with women, although these were never publicly acknowledged. Her marriages to actors Frank Fay and Robert Taylor were tumultuous, and many believe they were more about public appearances than genuine affection. Stanwyck never confirmed or denied her sexuality, choosing to keep her private life deeply guarded. Joan Crawford, one of Hollywood's most iconic stars, was known for her roles in Mildred Pierce and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. She was rumored to have had relationships with both men and women, including a reported affair with actress Barbara Stanwyck. Crawford's 4 marriages and numerous affairs with men were highly publicized, but her rumored relationships with women were kept out of the spotlight due to the era's social constraints. Crawford's daughter, Christina Crawford, hinted at her mother's bisexuality in her memoir Mommy Dearest, which further fueled speculation. Dorothy Arzner was one of the few female directors in Hollywood during the 1930s and 1940s. Arzner was openly gay in her private life and had relationships with women, including dancer Marion Morgan, with whom she lived for over 40 years. Arzner's films often featured strong, independent female characters, reflecting her own personality and defiance of gender norms. Despite her success, Arzner was marginalized by the industry, and she retired early. Her influence as a pioneering female director and a queer icon remains significant in film history. Walter Pidgeon was a suave leading man in the 1930s and 1940s, known for his roles in Mrs. Miniver and Forbidden Planet. Pidgeon's personal life was a well-kept secret, but he was known to be bisexual and had relationships with men as well as women. Despite this, Pidgeon maintained a public image as a traditional heterosexual star. His relationships were discreet, and he was able to sustain a successful career without scandal or controversy. Vincent Price was a beloved character actor known for his distinctive voice and roles in horror films such as House of Wax and The Fly. Price's sexuality was ambiguous, and he was known to have had relationships with both men and women. His daughter Victoria Price confirmed that her father was bisexual in her biography Vincent Price, A Daughter's Biography. Price's flamboyant persona and eclectic interests made him a celebrated figure among LGBTQ fans, and he became an icon for his acceptance of diversity and individuality. William Haynes was a silent film star whose career was cut short when he refused to hide his sexuality. Haynes was openly gay and had a long-term relationship with his partner, Jimmy Shields. After being pressured by MGM to enter a lavender marriage with a woman to hide his sexuality, Haynes chose to walk away from acting rather than deny who he was. He reinvented himself as an interior decorator, achieving great success and becoming one of Hollywood's top designers. His bravery in standing up for his identity made him a significant figure in LGBTQ history. Roddy McDowall was a British actor known for his roles in Planet of the Apes and the Poseidon Adventure. McDowall was a fixture in the Hollywood social scene and was widely rumored to be gay. He had many close friendships with both men and women in the industry, and was deeply respected for his intelligence and talent. McDowall's sexuality was never publicly acknowledged during his lifetime, but his private life was well known among those in his inner circle. Paul Lynde was a comedian and character actor known for his sarcastic humor and flamboyant persona on shows like Bewitched and Hollywood Squares. Lynde was gay, but he struggled with being open about his sexuality due to the intense homophobia of the time. His comedic style often played with innuendo and coded language, making him a beloved figure among LGBTQ fans. Despite his struggles, Lynde's legacy as a queer trailblazer in comedy remains strong. Nils Astor was a Swedish actor who became a heartthrob in Hollywood during the silent and early sound film era. Known as the male Garbo, Astor's good looks made him a popular romantic lead. Astor was rumored to have had relationships with men, including actor William Haynes. However, like many stars of his era, he was pressured to keep his sexuality a secret. Astor's career suffered as a result, and he returned to Sweden, where he continued to work sporadically in European films. Salka Virtel was an actress and screenwriter who worked closely with Greta Garbo. She was part of a group of intellectual and creative women in Hollywood who were known to have relationships with other women. Virtel's home became a gathering place for European émigrés and queer artists. Her relationship with Garbo was one of deep affection, and it is believed that they were romantically involved. Virtel's influence extended beyond her writing, as she created a safe space for queer artists to express themselves. Eva Le Gallienne was a renowned stage actress, director, and producer whose work in the theater was groundbreaking. Le Gallienne was openly lesbian and had relationships with women, including Alla Nazimova and Mercedes de Acosta. Her sexuality was no secret, and she often faced backlash and professional setbacks because of it. Despite this, she continued to work and advocate for the arts throughout her life, becoming a respected figure in the theater community. Merv Griffin was a television host and media mogul known for creating Jeopardy! And Wheel of Fortune. Griffin's sexuality was an open secret in Hollywood, and he had relationships with men, although he never publicly came out. His reluctance to discuss his private life was partly due to fears of damaging his media empire. Despite his conservative public image, Griffin's private life was much more complex, and his relationships with men were well known among his close friends. And Bannon is an author known for her Bebo Brinker Chronicles, a series of lesbian pulp novels published in the 1950s and 1960s. Although not an actress, Bannon's works were significant in providing representation of lesbian relationships in an era when such topics were taboo. Bannon herself was a closeted lesbian for many years and did not come out until much later in life. Her books have become classics of queer literature and are celebrated for their pioneering depiction of lesbian life. Robert Taylor was a leading man known for his roles in Waterloo Bridge and Quo Vadis. He was considered one of Hollywood's most handsome stars. While married to actress Barbara Stanwyck, Taylor was rumored to have had relationships with men. Their marriage was believed to be more of a convenience for both parties, allowing them to present a traditional image to the public. Taylor's sexuality remained a topic of speculation throughout his life, and he kept his private affairs discreet. Raymond Burr is best known for his roles in Perry Mason and Ironside. Despite his public image as a stalwart of justice on TV, Burr's personal life was shrouded in secrecy. He was in a committed relationship with Robert Benavides for over 35 years, although the relationship was not publicly acknowledged until after his death. Burr invented fictitious stories about wives and children that he had supposedly lost to shield his private life from scrutiny. His dedication to keeping his private life private has become a poignant part of his legacy. Clifton Webb was a character actor known for his roles in Laura and Sitting Pretty. Webb was openly gay within his social circle, but his sexuality was never publicly discussed due to the social constraints of his time. He lived with his mother until her death and never married, which only fueled speculation. Webb's sophisticated, often acerbic on-screen persona made him a memorable figure in Hollywood, and his openness within his circle helped pave the way for other gay actors. Bessie Smith was a pioneering blues singer known as the Empress of the Blues. Smith was bisexual and had relationships with both men and women, which was considered scandalous. During her time, her tumultuous personal life, including her relationships with women and her heavy drinking, became as legendary as her voice. Despite facing racism, sexism, and homophobia, Smith's talent and bold personality made her one of the most influential musicians of her era. Frances Faye was a jazz and cabaret singer known for her flamboyant performances and suggestive lyrics. Faye was openly lesbian in her private life and hinted at her sexuality through her stage persona and song choices. Her career flourished in clubs and cabarets, where she enjoyed more freedom than in mainstream Hollywood. Faye's openness and daring performances made her a favorite among LGBTQ audiences, and she is remembered for her fearless approach to self-expression. Mercedes de Acosta was a poet, playwright, and screenwriter known for her relationships with some of the most famous women of her time, including Greta Garbo, Marlene Dietrich, and Isadora Duncan. De Acosta's affairs were well known in Hollywood's social circles, and she was unapologetically open about her sexuality. Her relationships with these stars were often tumultuous, and her candid memoir Here Lies the Heart caused a scandal when it was published, as it revealed intimate details about her life and loves. Tom Drake was a character actor best known for his role as the boy next door in Meet Me in St. Louis. Drake was gay, but like many actors of his generation, he kept his personal life out of the public eye. His relationships with men were known within Hollywood, but he avoided any public acknowledgement. Drake's career declined as he aged, and he spent his later years working in real estate. He never publicly discussed his sexuality, but his private life was well known among his peers. Richard Barthelmess was a silent film star known for his roles in Way Down East and The Noose. Barthelmess's sexuality has been a topic of speculation, with some suggesting that he was bisexual and had relationships with men during his career. His image as a wholesome, leading man made it difficult for him to express his true self publicly. He retired from acting in the 1940s and lived quietly until his death. Although Jodie Foster is a modern-day actress, her early career in films like Taxi Driver and Freaky Friday placed her in the old Hollywood era as a child star. Foster's sexuality was long rumored in the press, but she kept her private life out of the spotlight for many years. She finally acknowledged her sexuality publicly in a heartfelt speech at the 2013 Golden Globes, discussing her desire for privacy and respect. Foster's decision to come out later in life was celebrated as a moment of courage and authenticity. Rudolph Valentino was the ultimate screen heartthrob of the silent film era, known for his roles in The Sheik and Blood and Sand. Valentino's sexuality has been the subject of speculation for decades, with rumors of relationships with both men and women. His marriages to actresses Jean Acker and Natasha Rambova were often considered to be more for show than love. Valentino's untimely death at 31 added to his mystique, and his sexuality remains a point of fascination and debate. Jean Acker was a silent film actress best known as the first wife of Rudolph Valentino. Acker was a lesbian, and her marriage to Valentino was never consummated, ending in separation. Soon after their wedding, Acker had relationships with women including actresses Alla Nazimova and Grace Darmond. Her marriage to Valentino has often been seen as a bearding arrangement, allowing both to maintain a public facade while pursuing their true desires privately. Miriam Hopkins was an actress known for her roles in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and The Heiress. Hopkins was rumored to be bisexual, and she had relationships with both men and women. Her rivalry with Bette Davis and her unconventional lifestyle were the subjects of much gossip. Hopkins was fiercely independent and refused to conform to Hollywood's expectations, which limited her career but solidified her status as a unique and complex figure. Charles Buddy Rogers was an actor and musician known as America's Boyfriend. He was married to silent film icon Mary Pickford, but his sexuality has been questioned by many film historians. Some believe Rogers was gay or bisexual, and his marriage to Pickford was a partnership of convenience. Despite the speculation, Rogers never publicly addressed these rumors and maintained a dignified public persona throughout his long life. Tallulah Bankhead was a stage and screen actress known for her deep voice and hedonistic lifestyle. Bankhead was openly bisexual and had relationships with men and women, including actresses Greta Garbo and Billie Holiday. Her uninhibited attitude towards sex and drugs made her a controversial figure, but she remained unapologetically herself. Bankhead's life was filled with excess and adventure, and she became a symbol of rebellion against conventional norms. Hattie McDaniel was the first African American to win an Academy Award for her role in Gone with the Wind. Although there is no definitive proof of McDaniel's sexuality, rumors have persisted that she was lesbian or bisexual. McDaniel's private life was fiercely protected, and she faced discrimination on multiple fronts. Her relationships, if any, were kept discreet, and she focused on surviving and thriving in a hostile industry. Maureen O'Sullivan was an Irish-American actress best known for playing Jane in the Tarzan films. O'Sullivan's sexuality has been a topic of speculation, with some believing she had relationships with women, her marriage to director John Farrow, and her image as a devoted wife and mother kept any such rumors out of the public eye. O'Sullivan's children, including actress Mia Farrow, have often hinted at her complexity, but she remained a private figure throughout her life. Louise Brooks was a silent film star and flapper icon known for her bobbed hair and role in Pandora's Box. Brooks was bisexual and had relationships with both men and women, including fellow actress Marion Davies. Her sexuality was no secret in Hollywood's inner circles, but she was never open about it in public. Brooks's rebellious nature and refusal to conform made her an outsider in the industry, and she left Hollywood early in her career to pursue her own path. Edward Everett Horton was a character actor known for his comedic roles in films like Top Hat and Arsenic and Old Lace. Horton's sexuality was an open secret in Hollywood, and he was known to have had relationships with men. He kept his private life extremely discreet, and his eccentric, often effeminate screen persona was accepted as part of his comedic charm. Horton's ability to navigate Hollywood without scandal allowed him to have a long and successful career. Liberace, born Lazio Valentino Liberace, was a flamboyant pianist and entertainer known for his extravagant costumes and lavish stage performances. Liberace was a master showman, and his career spanned over 4 decades. Although his homosexuality was widely suspected, he vehemently denied it throughout his life, even suing publications that hinted at it. Liberace's private relationships with men were kept out of the public eye, but he lived with his longtime partner Scott Thorson for many years. Thorson later wrote a book, Behind the Candelabra, which detailed their relationship. Liberace's struggle to maintain his public image as a heterosexual man despite his true identity highlights the pressures faced by gay entertainers of the time. Marlene Dietrich was a German-American actress and singer known for her androgynous style and sultry voice. Dietrich was openly bisexual and had relationships with both men and women, including affairs with writer Mercedes de Acosta and actress Claudette Colbert. She often dressed in men's clothing and embraced a gender-fluid identity, which was groundbreaking for her time. Dietrich's sexual openness and defiance of norms made her a queer icon, and she used her status to support LGBTQ rights. Her allure and defiance of convention remain powerful symbols of freedom and self-expression. John Gielgud was a British actor and director, one of the greatest Shakespearean actors of the 20th century. Gielgud was gay and was arrested in 1953 for soliciting a man in a public restroom, a scandal that could have ended his career. However, he continued to work and later became an outspoken advocate for gay rights. Gielgud's career flourished despite the setbacks, and his openness later in life made him a respected figure in the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Dirk Bogarde was a British actor who became a matinee idol in the 1950s. He later took on more complex roles in films like The Servant and Victim, the latter being one of the first mainstream films to address homosexuality. Bogarde himself was gay but kept his sexuality a closely guarded secret throughout his life. He lived with his partner, Anthony Forwood, for over 40 years, but they were never publicly acknowledged as a couple. Bogarde's refusal to publicly come out, despite his pioneering film roles, reflects the fear and stigma of being openly gay. During his time, James Whale was a British film director known for his work on Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. Whale was openly gay in the Hollywood of the 1930s, an era when few dared to be. His films often included subtle queer subtext and characters who didn't conform to traditional norms. Whale's career declined after he became more open about his sexuality, and he spent his later years in relative isolation. His life was later the subject of the film Gods and Monsters, which explored his struggles as a gay man in a conservative industry. Cesar Romero, known for his role as the Joker in the 1960s Batman series, was a Latin American actor whose charming persona made him a Hollywood favorite. Romero was rumored to be gay, and his relationships with men were well known within his social circle. He remained a lifelong bachelor and never publicly discussed his sexuality. Despite the rumors, Romero managed to maintain his public image as a suave ladies' man while living privately as a gay man. Alan Ladd was a leading man in films like Shane and This Gun for Hire. Ladd's rugged looks and tough guy roles made him a star, but his personal life was marked by struggles with depression and rumors about his sexuality. Ladd was rumored to have had relationships with both men and women, but his homosexuality or bisexuality was never publicly confirmed. His battles with alcoholism and self-doubt contributed to his early death at 50. George Nader was a matinee idol of the 1950s and a close friend of Rock Hudson. Nader was gay and lived with his partner Mark Miller for over 55 years. While he was never able to achieve the same level of stardom as his contemporaries, Nader's life and career were notable for his openness within the confines of the studio system. After leaving acting, he wrote a science fiction novel that became a cult hit. Nader's quiet defiance of Hollywood's norms made him a role model for other closeted actors. Rex Harrison was a British actor known for his roles in My Fair Lady and Cleopatra. Harrison's personal life was filled with scandal and speculation about his sexuality. He was married 6 times, but rumors of affairs with men persisted throughout his career. His temperamental behavior and complex relationships made him a controversial figure, and his sexuality remains a topic of debate. Richard Pryor was a groundbreaking comedian and actor known for his raw and honest stand-up performances. Pryor was open about his drug use and tumultuous personal life, and he later admitted to having relationships with men, including a brief affair with Marlon Brando. Pryor's openness about his sexuality, despite the stigma, was considered revolutionary, and his candidness in his comedy paved the way for future generations of LGBTQ entertainers. Charles Ruggles was a character actor best known for his roles in comedies and musicals. During the 1930s and 1940s, Ruggles's effeminate mannerisms and bachelor lifestyle led to rumors about his sexuality, and many speculated that he was gay. While Ruggles never publicly addressed these rumors, his close friendships with several known gay men in Hollywood added to the speculation. He never married, and his private life was kept strictly confidential. Ralph Richardson was one of the great British actors of the 20th century, known for his work on stage and in films like Dr. Zhivago. Richardson was married twice, but rumors about his bisexuality have persisted over the years. His relationships with men were whispered about in theatrical circles, but Richardson, like many of his contemporaries, never publicly acknowledged these rumors. His focus remained on his craft, leaving his private life largely shrouded in mystery. Errol Flynn was the epitome of the swashbuckling Hollywood star, known for his roles in The Adventures of Robin Hood and Captain Blood. Flynn's sexuality has been a topic of speculation, with claims of bisexuality and affairs with both men and women. His private life was scandalous, marked by multiple marriages, affairs, and accusations of statutory rape. His debauchery and willingness to flout societal norms made him a fascinating and controversial figure. Although Flynn's bisexuality was never publicly confirmed, His hedonistic lifestyle hinted at his attraction to both genders. Alla Nazimova was an avant-garde actress, writer, and producer known for her groundbreaking work in silent films. Nazimova was openly lesbian in her private life and coined the term sewing circle to describe the secret community of gay and bisexual women in Hollywood. She had relationships with several high-profile women, including actresses Eva Le Gallienne and Jean Acker. Her fearless embrace of her identity and support of other queer women in Hollywood made her a pioneer for LGBTQ representation in the industry. Kay Francis was a glamorous leading lady of the 1930s and 1940s, known for her distinctive lisp and sophisticated roles. Francis's sexuality has been a topic of debate, with many suggesting she was bisexual. She had several affairs with both men and women during her career, including a rumored relationship with actress Mary Astor. Francis's career waned as she aged, and she spent her later years in relative obscurity. Her sexual fluidity, while not openly discussed, was accepted within her social circle, making her a unique figure in Hollywood's golden age. Maureen O'Hara was an Irish-American actress best known for her roles in The Quiet Man and Miracle on 34th Street. Although O'Hara's public image was that of a wholesome, traditional woman, there were rumors of her attraction to women. She had close friendships with several prominent lesbians in Hollywood, and some biographers have suggested that she may have had romantic relationships with women. O'Hara never confirmed these rumors and remained a private person throughout her life. Patricia Neal was a talented actress known for her work in HUD and The Day the Earth Stood Still. Neal's sexuality has been a subject of speculation, with rumors of relationships with both men and women. Her complex personal life included an affair with Gary Cooper and a marriage to writer Roald Dahl. Neal's resilience in overcoming personal tragedies and her enigmatic private life have kept interest in her story alive long after her passing. Gladys Bentley was a celebrated blues singer and pianist known for her cross-dressing and body performances during the Harlem Renaissance. Bentley was openly lesbian and often performed in men's clothing, making her a bold and radical figure for her time. She faced backlash and discrimination for her sexuality and gender expression, but she continued to perform and live authentically. Bentley's life was marked by struggles, including an attempt to conform to societal norms later in life, but she remains a trailblazer for LGBTQ artists. Greta Garbo was one of Hollywood's most enigmatic stars, known for her reclusiveness and ethereal screen presence. Garbo was rumored to have had relationships with women, including actress Louise Brooks and writer Mercedes de Acosta. Although Garbo never publicly acknowledged her sexuality, her letters to de Acosta suggest a deep romantic connection. After retiring from acting, Garbo lived a private life in New York City, avoiding the spotlight and never discussing her personal life. Her refusal to conform to traditional gender roles and her enigmatic allure have made her a queer icon.